Hello everyone, myself I am Professor Sanjay Bhadke from Civil Engineering Department at Tulsiramji Gaikwad Patil College of Engineering and Technology, Nagpur. Friends, today we are going to discuss about the various numericals related to the stress and strain in the subject of strength of material. So, just this is one numerical. For the compound bar shown in figure, determine the change in the length, and for this compound bar, the value of Young's modulus E is given 2 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per mm square. This numerical shows us a compound bar made up of 3 different materials as shown in the diagram, and you can see here there are 2 forces are acting on the compound bar. One force is acting in left side with a magnitude of 40 kilonewton, and second force is acting in right side with a magnitude of 40 kilonewton. So, from the figure we can say that the nature of the forces acting on this compound bar is a tensile nature, because these 2 forces are acting away from the point. So, we can say this nature of the forces is a tensile nature and forces are acting away from the point. So, when forces are acting away from the point and nature is a tensile nature, in that case there will be the change in the length, and that particular change in the length can be defined by a notation as a delta L. Now, just see this figure. In this figure, if we say this is material number 1 and this is material number 2 and this is material number 3. So, now we can write down first the given data. So, as per the given data, as Young's modulus constant already given, and that E is equal to 2 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per mm square, and this is the constant value for all 3 materials as shown in the figure. Now, let us see the material number 1. For material number 1, we can say that length L1 is given as 200 mm and diameter D1 is given as 30 mm phi, where phi is the notation which normally we are using for the diameter. Now, let us move to material number 2. For material number 2, we can consider length as a L2, and here value of L2 is given as 300 mm and diameter D2 it is given as 50 mm. So, we can notate this diameter by pi. Now, let us move for material number 3. For material number 3, we can say length is L3, it is given as 150 mm, length is L3 which is given as 150 mm, and diameter we can say it as D2, which value is given as 20 mm phi. So, student, this is the given data for material number 1, 2 and 3. So, from this figure and from this data we can say that, and we can calculate the area for material number 1 as A1, for material number 2 as A2 and for material number 3 as A3. As diameter is given we know that when diameter is given, the area can be calculated by using the formula pi d square by 4. As per the mathematical formula, we can calculate the area by using the formula pi d square by 4. Because here dimensions are not given in the terms of radius, these dimensions are given in the terms of diameter. That's why for figure number 1, here I can calculate the area A1 by using the formula pi by 4 into d1's whole square. So here now if we are putting the values, we can calculate as 3.14 divided by 4, and for figure number 1 we have the diameter value as 30, so 30 is whole square. So this value will be 706.15, as this is area, so unit of measurement of area is mm square. So here we are putting 706.15 mm square. So this way we have calculated the area for material number 1. Now just move to the second part. Now we are going to calculate the area for material number 2. For material number 2, the diameter is given as 50 mm. So you just put the value pi by 4 d2's whole square. So by putting the value pi by 4 into 50's whole square, we will get the area A2 as after calculation 1963.12 mm square. So this is the area for material number 2. So this way we can calculate the area for material number 3. For material number 3, the diameter is given as 20 mm. So again you use same formula only by changing the diameter. So pi by 4 into d3's whole square. If you put in your values here, so pi by 4, what is the value of d3? It is 20. So 20's whole square. So here value of A3 will be, on calculation we will get 314.15 mm square. Okay. So this way you can calculate first the area for given materials. Okay. So now our final aim to calculate the change in the length. So there is one small formula to calculate the change in the length. So change in the length delta L. Delta L can be calculated by, already we discussed that delta L can be calculated by PL by AE. So if you are using this formula delta L, where delta L it's denote the change in the length. So by using this formula delta L is equal to PL by AE, we can calculate the change in the length. But if we are thinking about the given diagram, we have given 3 different materials: material number 1, material number 2 and material number 3. So it is essential that we should calculate the change in the length for different material, as given length of the material is different, given diameter of the material is different, and given tensile loading of the material is different. So to calculate the final change in the delta L, what we will do, we will first individually calculate the change in the length for material number 1, material number 2 and material number 3, and finally just addition of these 3 we will get the delta L. So now we know that the given nature of force is a tensile force, and if you see this diagram, one tensile force is acting on leftward direction and second tensile force is acting in rightward direction, and here three materials are given. So if you want to calculate the change in length, you are separately calculate the tensile load on each material. So how to calculate the tensile load on each material? For calculating the tensile load on each material, we are going to draw the free body diagram. Once we draw the free body diagram, we can separately calculate the loads. So here we assume that for material number 1, the tensile load is P1. For material number 2, the tensile load is P2. And for material number 3, the tensile load is P3. So first, before going forward, we have to calculate this value separately, P1, P2 and P3. Then how we are going to calculate this value? So before this calculation of value, you have to draw the separately free body diagrams of this given compound bar. So here free body diagram, so see, material number 1 as shown in the figure, this is material number 1 as shown in the figure, this is material number 1, and this material number 1, the tensile force is given 40 kilonewton. Okay. So here force is acting in away from the point. So we have to balance the figure. When same magnitude we are applying on the right side, then this body will become in equilibrium conditions. The force effect will be 0. So here this is the force of 40 kilonewton which is acting in left side. To make this material in equilibrium condition, we are applying the same magnitude of force on right side direction. So 40 kilonewton force is acting in left side direction, or 40 kilonewton force is acting in right side direction. Now you draw the free body diagram for second material. So here the free body diagram for second material. So here this is the point where material number 1 and material number 2 are attached to each other. So now we are drawing the free body diagram for second material. So in for first figure, a force of magnitude of 40 kilonewton is acting in tensile direction. Now to make it counterbalance, we will provide a tensile force of 40 kilonewton here, and again to counterbalance this diagram we provide a tensile force of 40 kilonewton here. Now see here, this is 40 kilonewton, this is 40 kilonewton. This 40 kilonewton is acting as a tensile force in right side direction. So here we are balancing the force. Here we are applying a force of 40 kilonewton in opposite direction. So when you balancing this load, this 40 is acting in rightward direction and this 40 is acting in leftward direction. So when we balancing this force, we will get 40 minus 40 is equal to 0. Here effect of force will be 0. So this way you have to balance the force. Now for second figure, if we apply the 40 kilonewton force here, we have to balance this figure. That's why in right side we apply a same tensile force of magnitude of 40 kilonewton. So this way we draw the free body diagram for figure number 1, figure number 2. Now draw the free body diagram for figure number 3. Again here we are applying a force of 40 kilonewton. Now counterbalance this force. So this force is acting in rightward direction. So I am applying a same magnitude force in opposite direction. So here I apply a force of 40 kilonewton. So now these values are counterbalanced. It is acting in rightward direction, it is acting in leftward direction. But if here I provide a force of 40 kilonewton in leftward direction, again I have to put this figure in equilibrium condition. That's why I am applying a same force in opposite direction with the same magnitude of 40 kilonewton. So now all these three material will be in equilibrium. So now see this figure. In this figure, a force of 40 kilonewton is acting here. A force of 40 kilonewton is acting here, and nature of force is a tensile force. And now see here, a force of 40 kilonewton acting in rightward direction. So in final diagram, a force of 40 kilonewton is acting here. So in both the cases, these are the tensile forces. Now this figure is completely equilibrium condition. So now for see this free body diagram, and for this figure number 1, we can say the force P1, the nature of force is tensile. So force P1 is 40 kilonewton. For figure number 2, we can see that force is P2, nature of force is tensile force, and its value will be 40 kilonewton. And for last figure, that is figure number 3, the force will be P3 and the nature of force will be tensile force, and its value will be 40 kilonewton. So in this way, you have to find out the value of tensile loading or loading at figure number 1, figure number 2 and figure number 3. So this way we will get the value of P1, P2 and P3. So here we can write the axial load is 40 kilonewton, again P2 is 40 kilonewton and P3 is 40 kilonewton. But when you are doing the mathematical calculation, you should take all the values in particular dimensions. So here in the figure, diameter is given in mm, length is given in mm. Here diameter is given mm, length is given in mm, but tensile force is given in kilonewton. So we have to convert this tensile force in the Newton. So we know that when we multiply 40 by 10 raised to 3 or 1000, so it will convert into the Newton. So we can write P1 is equal to 40 into 10 raised to 3 Newton, P2 is equal to 40 into 10 raised to 3 Newton, and P3 is equal to 40 into 10 raised to 3 Newton. Okay. So this way you have to calculate the values of tensile force. Now next step, now we are going to calculate the value of delta L. Finally we have to calculate the value of delta L. What this delta L indicate? This delta L indicate the change in length. Delta L indicate the change in length. So how will you get the final value delta L? So we can get the value of delta L if we calculate the change in length for material 1, change in length for material 2 and change in length for material 3. So addition of delta L1, delta L2 and delta L3, we will get the final value of change in length. So that value will be delta L will be given by delta L1 plus delta L2 plus delta L3. So now we are going to calculate the values of delta L1. So delta L1 is for material 1. So already we discussed the formula, delta L is given by PL by E. So here material number 1, so we can write P1 L1 divided by A1 into E1. Okay, but you see the numerical. In the numerical, we have given the constant value E, 2 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per mm square. So we can write the value of E will be same for material number 1, material number 2, material number 3. Here same type of material is given and same value of Young's modulus is given, so that we will use that value to calculate the change in length. So we can write that E1 is equal to E2 is equal to E3, because same value we have given, only one value. So is equal to E, and this value is given 2 into 10 raised to 5 Newton mm square. So you see here again unit of measurement is Newton per mm square. So when you are going to do some calculation, you have to see the units. Units should be same. So now we can calculate the delta L1. So here delta L1 is given. You just put the value of P1. What is the value of P1? P1 is given as 40 into 10 raised to 3. What is the value of L1? 200 mm. What is the area? The area is given as 706.15. And what is the value of E1? E1 means E. 2 into 10 raised to 5. So if we do this calculation, 40 multiplied by 10 raised to 3 multiplied by 200 multiplied by 706.15 multiplied by 2 into 10 raised to 5. So finally we will get the value as delta L1 as a 0.056, and this value also in mm. So here you will get the value in mm only, delta L1. Okay. So next, to calculate the delta L2. So again in delta L2, this is the value for material number 2. We are using the same formula, but notation will be changed. So here your force or load will be P2 into L2 divided by A2 into E2. So what is the value of P2? Again, the value of P2 is 40 into 10 raised to 3. What is the value of L2? See this figure or in this diagram, material number 2, and for this material number 2 value is 300 mm. So here I am writing 300. What is the value of A2? We already calculate the value of A2 as a 1963.12 approximately, and value of E2 is constant. Again it is 2 into 10 raised to 5 Newton per mm square. So on solving this value, you will get the approximate value of 0.035 mm. So this is the change in the length. This is the change in the length for figure number 2. Now last calculation, to calculate the value of delta 3. So here we can calculate the value of delta 3. So again delta 3, it is for material number 3, and we are using the formula P3 by L3 divided by A3, P3 multiplied by L3 divided by A3 into A3. So you will get 40 into 10 raised to 3 multiply by C. Here the L3 value of length is given 150 mm. So again, for this figure, area we already calculated as 314.15 multiply by 2 into 10 raised to 5. So if we are doing this calculation, approximately we will getting the value of 0.094 mm. So this is the change in length for material number 3. But final, we have to calculate the final change in the length. So final change in the length, delta L1 is given by, delta L is given by delta L1 plus delta L2 plus delta L3. So delta L1 plus delta L2 plus delta L3, we will get the final value of delta L. So now in this formula we are going to put the value for delta L1. So delta L1 is something 0.056 plus delta L2 is of 0.032 and delta L3 is of 0.095. So approximately final change in the length you will get as a 0.185 mm. So students, when a compound bar is given for that particular type of bar, here 3 different materials are given. So in that case, we are going to use this formula. Change in the length is given by delta L1 plus delta L2 plus delta L3 and final value will be as a delta L. So here we got the answer as 0.185 mm. Thank you.